If you or a family member have been hurt because of the careless actions of another person, call Walker, Texas Lawyer. They'll work to get you the financial compensation and justice you deserve. They have 40 years of experience, and you don't pay unless you win. Call 713-881-9653 today for a consultation or go to walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk, you me funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
And he's joining us right now. He is the #1 New York Times best-selling author and Fox News Channel's chief political anchor. The new book is called To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment. One of the great newsmen of today's times, Bret Baier, joins us. Bret, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, thanks for having me.
Hey, look, I am so excited to talk to you and to talk about the book, To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment. Like, for people who might not understand just from reading the title, talk about the contents of this book and really what its true cause is.
Yeah, so this is the fifth in my presidential series of books, and I'm kind of addicted to this process now of trying to find little nuggets of history that really paint a narrative, put people in the room so they feel like they really have a sense of our history. And I've done Dwight Eisenhower and Ronald Reagan and FDR and Ulysses S. Grant. And this one, I go way back to the beginning and the founding. And it's a soda straw look at a moment in history that kind of was overlooked and how that leader gets to there and what it means maybe for our time today. And this time is right after the Revolutionary War. The British are defeated and the country is really falling apart. You would think that it would be all harmony and happiness and heading towards liberty, but in fact, there's a lot of infighting. And we're held together loosely by these Articles of Confederation, but they're not working. It's not sufficient. And in fact, some people wanted to go back to British rule. That's what and it's in that moment where there are uprisings in all kinds of states that they call the Constitutional Convention in May of 1787 in Philadelphia, and they tapped the guy who was the leader of revolutionary forces to be the head of this, George Washington. And without him, arguably, we wouldn't have a country. It really almost fell apart numerous times.
It's pretty incredible to me that George Washington, I mean, everyone obviously knows him as the first president and his role in the Revolutionary War, but this, and a very most important this, gets lost on people. I was not aware of how intimately involved he was with the Constitutional Convention and essentially helping form the Constitution as we know it today. Why is that something that falls deaf on people's ears when they're not aware of?
You know, we built him up as kind of this godlike figure, and we always think of him as leading revolutionary forces, which I talk about in the book as well, which was kind of almost divine intervention, because this crew that he was leading was kind of ragtag and not trained and not well equipped, but he convinces them and gives them the belief that they can win, and eventually they do. But, and then we see him as the first president, and all the things that he's the first executive, and his biggest job is when he steps aside after 2 terms. But this moment is really tense. It's just on an edge that the country really could have fallen back and not been built. Originally, they start this convention as tweaking the Articles of Confederation. They just want to give it more teeth. And Washington says, listen, I'm not going to be the head of this unless we're ripping it up root and branch and starting with something new. And he manages in a very somber way, and in kind of a way that is the sensible man in the room, a thoughtful presence. He's not a big fiery speaker. He doesn't speak a lot during the convention, but he works to try to find common ground on all these dissenting voices to where they get something on paper, finally they agree to it, and then they get it ratified. And he calls that a miracle. But it is a miracle for the founding of our country.
Hurry up, tape running out.